I want to talk a little bit about, you receive federal funds. Are you, you talked about that 90% of your students would qualify for free and reduced lunch?
Formally on the books right now, I think we're closer to 80, but I would say those that if they actually report it.
If they actually report it. Do you receive federal funds, Title I funds?
We do. We
Okay.
do. We get economic impact aid, Title I, LEA funding. The issue isn't so much with the funding piece, it's coming up with options for parents that they would actually be engaged in. And give you an example, nowhere in my office do you see a diploma hanging up. I'm not necessarily the suit and tie kind of person, because I know that with my community, that oftentimes will not connect. And we've done more to make folks feel less than in our business with all of our ed jargon and all of our degrees, etc. I think we've got to be able, number one, to reach out in authentic ways. One way of doing that would be getting out there and having coffees in homes. Mm-hmm. I think that's huge, going out into the community and bringing those folks in. That's not necessarily a cost impact. Mm-hmm. It's a communication impact in making folks feel comfortable. The challenge that, as you and I have already alluded to, is that, being able to have somebody come in and volunteer. Look at the elderly in our community, mm-hmm. who have so much to offer, so much wisdom and so much mentoring that they would love to do. We work with the Kiwanis in this community who work very good with our functional skills kids, but you go to any local hospital and you walk in and you're looking at elderly volunteers who have the biggest smile on their face, and you walk in and you feel at home. That's exactly what I would love to see happen here at Tahquitz High School. I'd love to be able to reach out to the elderly and have them play a major role with our kids here. It's coming up with the right kind of options and opportunities for parents that I think that's the key piece.
I think that's wonderful. We talked a little bit about core standards. Let's talk about expectations in terms of behavior.
Mm-hmm. For students?
Mm-hmm. For students?
Students are their principal.
Yes.
No, I think with the students at Tahquitz High School, one of the things I think that, and there has been a big transition. There are two schools of thought around expectations on behavior. Give it one. First one is that kid gets kicked out of class. You have certain teachers who would love that after that kid left my office, that kid would walk out on campus and be frustrated, angry. I mean, they just want the book thrown, tar and feather them. And boom, now I send a kid, and I've got news for that teacher. The kid already came to me frustrated, disappointed, and just enraged. So now I'm going to take that kid, irritate him even more, and send him back out to another classroom so they can impact another teacher or impact another kid.
Another classroom.
Absolutely.
They changed the classroom culture. Absolutely.
So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is we can spend day after day after day coming up with policy after policy and a thou shall not list, and by God, if you do it, this is what's going to happen. I got news for that philosophy. Number one, coercion has never led to change, ever. Mm-hmm. If you can promote the behavior that you want and celebrate the behavior that you want and actually create options for kids that they aspire to, I think you are going to have an expectation that doesn't even necessarily need to be stated. It's implicit. They
Yes.
just know that when they come to Tahquitz High School, they're part of a family. They're part of something bigger than they are. It doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter what your weight is, doesn't matter how much money you have in your back pocket. When you are here, you're a type.
Okay.
And building that expectation is done through relationship. Nothing is more important than the relationship between the teacher and the student. And I've got a staff here that I think values that philosophy and connects very well with kids. So the expectation when you come, all I ask is two things. Number one, you absolutely give me your best, and you never lie to me.
Yes.
And if we can keep those two, then number one, my thing is I love you, and I will go to hell and back for you. We're going to get through this thing together. Are you going to make mistakes? Of course you are. We all did. It's what we do when you make that mistake that I believe the role of public ed is to create a series of opportunities to give kids a chance to operate from a different place, not boot them out of this school or take a kid who could have done something and you could have given that kid an opportunity to have done something different and throw them back out into society and say, we're done with them. That's ridiculous.